Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following confession that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a message that we received via Facebook, and it reads like this. Brother Nashi, how are you? Please let your people hear this. I am your follower, but I follow you on your other Shona confession pages and channels. So this is my own story that I want you to translate. It is okay. There is no problem. I want you to tell your listeners that one should never trust their friends because there is no such thing as a trusted friend in this world. Everyone is looking after themselves. And if you are stupid enough to believe that there are real friends in this world, you are going to die. Just like the way that my friend, who was a South African label, passed away. I am Zimbabwean, by the way, and God blessed me last year. I now have a spousal visa. This means that I can travel freely wherever I go to. My husband is a lawyer, and honestly, people, they think that I am a blessed woman. You might see me going to church, but it does not mean that church is in me. I am still someone who worships their ancestors, and I love to do evil unto those that think that they can use me and dump me. The foundation that I have built my marriage, literally, I built it on a grave, on Lebo's grave, as well as the water that I went and I placed on top of a grave, as well as a broom. But this is a sweeping broom that is made out of grass that I personally made in Zim, and I brought it to South Africa. Let me take you back. My story, it is very painful. I was raped by my stepdad. So whenever I would try to go into a relationship, I don't know, maybe it was that I had been raped by my stepdad. So there was a spirit, a bad negative spirit that was always following me. I really do not know. I always dated men that were violent. Even when I came to South Africa, I had already started working as a prostitute. It was in the year 2007. I was staying and working in Hillbrow. I was a night worker, a prostitute, and my best friend. I had many best friends that I had, and we used to look after each other. And my best friend was a South African girl. Her name was Lebu. We were both working in Hillbrow, selling our bodies to survive. As for Lebu, she was different than other prostitutes, than me as well, because Lebu, she was someone that had gone to university, but she dropped out because the dad that had been paying for him, who was the stepdad after Lebu had fallen pregnant, was no longer interested in furthering her education, and she could not access government funding. So she ended up not returning back home. She was staying in Limpopo, and she stayed in Joburg, started dating Nigerians. One thing led to another, and then she was found her way in Hillbrow. So I liked her quite a lot because she was very smart, and she always said to me, Loveness, I want you to return back to school. But I hated school. All that I wanted was to use my ties so that I can build my mom a bigger house back home in Chipinge. But by then, we were staying in a village that is called Rusape. Every morning after we would have made our money, usually I would knock off. If it meant that business was really good, I would knock off around 4 a.m. when we would be counting cash, because we were sharing the same room. As we were counting cash, Levo would open her books. She would be putting herself through university to study law. Even if we had customers that were coming to book us during the day, and as for Levo, she would just close her books, open her ties, sleep with a guy, then return back to studying. I used to laugh at her. I would be like, Levo, you are so stupid. Why are you stressing your brain trying to teach yourself new things about the law? Because when she would be studying, she would be having these thick books, and I'll be like, so everything that is written in this book, you are supposed to put it in your head. I will never do such a thing. When you are already making 2008 because Levo, she was very beautiful. She had the good skin and she had the beautiful curves that every man wanted, and every man wanted to be with her. Out of the men that would come to our hostel, most of them, they would choose Levu over us. She was always busy. So it did not make sense to me that a beautiful woman who was already selling her ties would want to return back to university. I would be like, just eat your money and enjoy. I eventually went back home to Zim, but I never forgot her. She was like a sister to me. Levu knew that I was supposed to return back to Zim. She even encouraged me multiple times that I was supposed to go back home and study and come back to South Africa and get proper documentation as a skilled worker. I did not want to study. I used to laugh and I would be like, I wish that the government will say that those that are prostitutes, they can have work permits, because some of us, we have the skills. When it comes to love making, we are critical skills people. So I never wanted to study. I just wanted to be with guys that could give me money. So when I went back home, I started a boutique. Things did not work out very well. You know, our economy in Zim, it is very difficult for you to run a business. In 2018, I returned back to Joburg. I don't know if it was destiny or what, but I then met her. I saw her at a mall. She was someone that was changed. As for some of us, we were still into prostitution, but the way that I was prostituting myself now, it was in a clever way. I was dating multiple men at the same time, so you would not even second guess it that I was still a prostitute. When I saw her by chance at the mall, she was different. She was glowing. She told me that she was now a successful lawyer and she was with a man whom she named David. The only challenge that Lewo later told me was that she was unable to fall pregnant. And as for Lewo, I used to tell him to never remove pregnancies, and she used to abort quite a lot because some of these guys that she would end up dating, they would be all over her. Please give me a baby. I want you to become my baby mama. So she would fall pregnant for a guy and then she would remove the pregnancy. She would even deliberately do it so that she can milk the guy out of his money, then remove the pregnancy. And then she reminded me of the time when I used to tell her that, Levo, you should not remove pregnancies like this. You never know in the future. Maybe you would want to have another child. So when she told me that she did not have a baby, the first day when we met at the mall, I was immediately attracted to her husband. He seemed so rich, and I made sure that I went with them to the shops. And when they were busy buying at the till, I was looking at the numbers showing on the till. Their groceries was around 4,000 something, and the trolley, inside the trolley, it was not even full. It was just a little bit of stuff. And they said, so people can blow so much money in a very short period of time. So then I wanted Levu's husband. I wanted a man like him. We had already exchanged WhatsApp numbers as we were busy shopping. We went to their vehicle and she told me that this was a car. She always told me that she wanted to drive a Range Rover, and indeed they had a Range Rover which was white, and she told me that it belonged to him. So I was thinking about the way that I was going to bring myself into her life to make her husband to love me more than the way that he loved Levom. What she did not know was that while she was busy saving my numbers in her phone and I doing the same, I was already planning about the future. And please do not blame me. I think that you should blame my husband, because when I was with them at the mall, I kept on seeing that Levo's husband, who was her husband by then, he is now my husband as for now, he kept on looking at my palms. What else was I supposed to think about? I saw that his eyes, they were rushing, and I kept on turning around so that he can have a full view of my bumps. So I knew already what I wanted, just that I did not know how to approach David. That was the thing that really made me to have a lot of sleepless nights. I just wanted a husband to become mine. So before I had gone to Zim, I had dated this other married man who was from Zim. The wife then went to a traditional Hilam in our country in Zim, and then she did some rituals against me. So when I would on my period, I would see white blood. Have you ever seen blood that is not red or dark red or black? It would be white. That was the blood that was coming out of my private part. This is a secret that I had never told anyone. So I went to Zim. Since I come from Jipinge, healers, powerful traditional healers, they are everywhere. I ended up going to this other woman who heals people by using mermaid spirits. When I was at her place, that was when she told me about what had been done to me. And she then told me that she was going to make me to join a witch's coven, for she was a witch. That was the day that she confessed to me that she was a witch. So, Brother Nashin, I had become a witch the time that I was running my boutique in Zim. I had been a witch and I returned back to South Africa. When I came back, when I met Lebo, in order for me to have access into your life, you need to give a witch access into your life. Without access, even though I did something that is truly evil, but I do not want what happened to Lebo to happen to any of your followers or any of your subscribers. There are things that a witch will ask you that will grant them spiritual authority into your life. And I'm going to tell you how I manage to get spiritual authority over a marriage. Every day on WhatsApp, I would press Lero, my friend, when can I visit you? When can I visit your house? I miss you. She missed me as well. One thing that had happened between me and Lebo, one might ask, why would a South African have such a bond with a Zimbabwean friend? As we were doing our work, there was one guy who loved to sleep with two women at the same time. So me and Lebo, we used to go and please that rich guy. So this guy, as he was sleeping with us, one thing would lead to another. We would end up touching each other, me and Lebo. So we had that kind of a bond. That is why she saw me as her own sister, that bond that two women can share when they are in bed with a guy. It is something that can become unbreakable. So she loved me quite a lot, even though we never did stuff like sleeping with each other without the guy being present. So I kept on pushing. And then that was when she would tell me that she would invite me to her house. They were busy with some renovations. So in order for a witch to get access into your life, your house is like your physical temple, the place where you reside. And if there is someone that can come and leave their charms hidden somewhere in the couch or underneath the couch or in a place where you will never find those charms, then that person can come and claim spiritual authority at night to bewitch you. I kept on pushing whenever she would be hesitant to invite. Then I would ask, can I see a recent photo of you? Can I see a recent photo of our husband? You look so happy. I want to see the way that you guys, you look too good to be together. And what she did not know was that with each and every photo that she would send to me, this is what I would do. I would print them out and I would go to the buses, and I would send them with the groceries that would go all the way to Mutare, where one of the witches, who was a sister of mine but not a blood sister, she was a sister because she was a witch like me, and then she would go with it to the village where our queen was in the village in Chipinge. Those physical photos they would be taken to a graveyard, and they would use those pictures of her and her husband. A spirit was specifically locked inside a small wooden coffin. It was really small, maybe about 10 centimeters long. So I wanted her to die. And as for her husband, they would put his pictures in a love bottle. This was a love bottle so that he can love me like forever. To keep her confused, this coffin would be left inside of the graveyard. So I played the sister in Christ role. Like I told you that when I came back to South Africa, I was a shark that was hunting for a rich guy, and I did not want a man to know that I was a prostitute. I wanted a man to see me as a desperate, very beautiful woman, because I am as equally beautiful as Lebo was, even though she had those marvelous curves. So I wanted a guy to think that I am a desperate woman who is lacking love, and I am a Christian. So I even ended up joining the Jehovah's Witness because there was a guy that I wanted there that was a blesser. That is how much I was hunting back in South Africa. Since I was now pretending to be a Christian, she did not know about the witchcraft part. One day I said, Lebo, I have a vision. The Lord showed me that David is cheating on you. Can I pray and prophesy over you? She was vulnerable. Indeed, David had been cheating on her, even though it was a wild guess that I had taken. So she let me into her home. She invited me over. And even though she said that she was going to see me in a week, then I ran back home. I spent like the whole week on the bus, went back home. 2.5 days I was in Chipinge. I went to that traditional healer's house. This was on the 3rd day. On the 4th day, I was on the bus returning back to South Africa. My legs even got swollen. Ladies, that is how you fight for a man that you want. Traveling back to South Africa, my legs were swollen because I had been on the bus throughout the week. Returned back to South Africa, went to her house. She did not even know that I had left the borders of South Africa. When I was in Zim, I went into the bushes. I then collected tall grass and I made a sweeping broom for her, those traditional sweeping broom that is made out of grass. And I returned back with it and I gave it to her and I told her that this was a gift that I had brought for her from Zimbabwe. Ladies, never allow, it might be your mother-in-law, never let anyone buy for you a broom, because a broom as a woman, it means a lot in your home. Someone can bewitch your sweeping broom and they can sweep your life away. I told her that I had taken that sweeping broom to a pastor who had prayed for that sweeping broom, and this was going to make her husband to stop cheating. She wanted to believe in anything. This broom, what she did not know was that it had been dipped in a water that the traditional healer told me that she had gone to place this water in a clay pot in the grave of women who had died in our village in bitter divorces. Every time that Lebo would be sweeping a bedroom, she was not cleaning her house. She was literally sweeping herself out of her own marriage. This she did not know, that she was bringing that dividing spirit from the graves. Every time that she would sweep, then it meant that she was pushing her husband David further and further away, and this made her husband not to like her at all. Then it was in the year when 2020 COVID was coming around, lockdown everywhere. I saw my gap. I had a dream. In my dream, I saw that I was supposed to go and finish up with Lebo, and I was supposed to bewitch her, but I was having problems at night to enter into her home because she had some sort of spiritual covering. I had to stay with her physically. I saw my gap. As the lockdowns were being spoken about, I told Lebo that I was stuck with no place to go to. Being the good friend, she invited me into her home. This was a final mistake. Whilst we were staying together, she did not know that I was bewitching her food. If you have a friend, even if that friend of yours has some problems, you would rather have them stay somewhere, pay for their rentals somewhere else if you have the means. If you really want to assist your friend, never bring another woman into your home where you share with your own husband. Men, they will always be men, and they are easily seduced, just like King David was seduced by just seeing a woman bath, and he saw it fit in his heart to murder the husband. Whenever she would have gone out, I would literally walk naked in front of David. Even when my friend was in another room, I would accidentally leave the door to my spare bedroom open, and I would be sleeping on the bed with just a panty on, or maybe a pillow on top of my bums. That is what I will do. I would walk to the kitchen knowing that he would be watching some movies late at night with literally nothing, even just a bra and a panty on, making sure that Lebo will not see me. She started to get sick because of the charms that I was putting into her system. So when she could not walk anymore, that was when she was rushed to the hospital. With the quarantine, we were quarantined, me and David together. Just imagine what happened next. There was no chance for David. I was putting some charms in the food that I would cook for him. This man, he never stood any chance with me. There is this herb that I had brought with me from Zim that will make a man to have a strong erection. It is for libido, for a man to have high libido. In the morning, even if you would say, prepare cornflakes for me, I would put the charm in the cornflakes, in the tea. In the afternoon, if I would cook even pap or anything for him. So he was always having an erection, and I said, David, come, let me assist you. We started making love, and by the time that Lebo passed away in November of 2022, she had already lost her husband. I did not even cry at the funeral. I was already there. I was the new wife already. So by February 2023, just 3 months after she had been buried, I then told David that he could not sleep with me anymore without him paying the lobola, because I went to do this ritual where they train you how to shake up a man in bed. David stood no chance. He had never had such experience from a Zimbabwean woman, and he was seeing things on my private part that Lebo did not have. So he wanted me with all of his heart. I took David to Chipinge as well as his relatives because I had given them the charms. So that is how I got married. My parents, they were happy. They took the lobola money. We did the customary marriage while Lebo's grave was still fresh. I deleted her from my life like she had never existed. By 2024, that was when we were legally married in court. I was happy. I was happy, Brother Nashi. And in May of 2025, David then filed for my spouse visa. I just received my temporary resident permit, and oh gosh, I'm so excited. So life is very good. There is one car that I said, this one, I do not want you to sell it. It once belonged to Lebo. I can't mention the model of that car. And the broom that she swept herself with out of a marriage, you won't even believe it. I have it in the house. I tied it with a red string. It is locked up somewhere else. Even if it happens that Lebo wakes up as a ghost to come and haunt me, she would be dragged by that broom. She will spend the rest of the night doing the house chores. And this is my confession. I know that I did what some might consider to be evil, but if you are a woman or a man, if you have a friend, know that a friend is a friend. You should have a separation. Never let anyone advise you about the things that has to do with your marriage, because the person that you go to ask for help, they might be in love with your partner. They won't even think twice when it comes to killing you. This is my confession, brother. When you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Let us talk about this in the comment section. I'll be back with another episode.